Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. My name's Ryan, your host, and I'm here with the one and only Mabbsy and Jonathan. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. All good. No football on this week, so apart from England games, but yeah, sound.
A week without Everton is a week without getting out of bed, isn't it? There's something
a
about
week with a lot less stress.
It's one of them though. There's just too much football on. I know because obviously the condensed season and everything, but just seems like every day's a game. So hopefully, the players can go back and get some conditioning done.
Yeah, it's really important, isn't it? I know a lot of the players have gone on international duty, but for those still at Finch Farm, some work to be done, obviously, in preparation for the final 10 games, particularly with the news that James Rodriguez is now back training.
So he did have a sex change then now?
Seen about that.
Did he see that by the cop?
Yeah.
Scared as anything, said he had a sex change. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, some of the rumours that they've been coming out with recently are just, unbelievable.
Well, something's got to keep them going.
But remember, we don't matter to them, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're a bit obsessed. But that is a big boost, isn't it? James Rodriguez back in training, and he's going to be fit for that next fixture after the international break. Do you think he is key now for Everton to, if they're going to finish in Europe? Is he the catalyst? Is he the player they've just got to keep fit at all costs and protect?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without Decore, yeah, you need to keep him fit. You need to protect them. Just for the final 10 games, it's vital that now just keep him up to speed and keep him in the team.
Excellent. This man, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, he's back in training.
Wow.
He's training with the squad. I'm told.
Must be a record, not getting injured. He's about a week now, hasn't it?
Well, he's back, and it looks like he could be involved, obviously, within the coming fixtures. How big a boost could he be to this Everton midfield that has looked a little legged at times?
Well, again, he's like a new signing, isn't he? Because I don't think I've seen him play. I don't think he played once or twice, was it?
Twice, 90 minutes and then 20 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, more than merry. You look at the bench last game, it was woeful. At the end of the day, of course it's a new signing. Hopefully he's committed to us and he will play. If not, he needs to be in the shop window trying to attract other clubs. So either way, he's got to play, hasn't he?
John, a lot of players coming back from injury, hopefully after the international break, but the risk is always, are they going to get injured on international duty?
It's always before. Yeah, it's always a risk, but obviously every player wants to represent their international team. It's a huge honour, and also it's a break from playing with your club, and it gives you new tactics or opportunities to work with other players. And obviously, you're working with the players that are at their best, or should be at the best. Hopefully, the England team are up to scratch. But for example, with Calvert-Lewin working alongside the likes of Harry Kane, Sterling, just other players, it could hopefully boost his game as well. So I think there are a lot of positives as well. Obviously, there is a chance to get injured, but there's the chance anyway. So I think it's really good for him to develop.
The internationals, it doesn't sit right to me. With what's going on with COVID and everything like that in Europe, it just doesn't. And the travelling again, it just doesn't sit right somehow. I don't know.
I mean, it's not really appropriate in a global pandemic to be playing international football, is it? Really,
jetting off to European, all over the world. But
yeah.
So I'm going to give you the rundown of the players that have been on international duty: Luca Dean, Seamus Coleman, Josh King. They were in action last night, and today, obviously, Tom Davis and Ben Godfrey, who we're going to highlight because we don't want to talk too much about international football, but we are going to look at those two in a minute. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin in action tonight against San Marino. Hopefully he starts and can get 6 or 7 goals. And Robin Olsen for Sweden, Jean Virginia, Portugal under-21s. And, of course, the likes of Iwobi in upcoming fixtures. But there are a lot of players, particularly the Brazilians and the Colombians, who are still at Finch Farm, which I think is only a good thing, really.
Yeah, of course it is.
Can't get injured, and they can all work together and really knuckle down ahead of the final 10 games. But Let's look at the Tom Davies and Ben Godfrey. David, okay, Basil, one of our regular pundits, shall you say, on here. He did have the pleasure of watching England under 21s, and they lost 1-0 to Switzerland today, which obviously, is the European under 21 championship. It's not just a friendly game; it's the real deal. That's a big blow. And what we were told was that Tom Davies played on the right, sort of with Ben Godfrey and Max Aarons, kind of like all on the same side. And only thing really he mentioned was that they were poor. They were a ball poor collectively, and Godfrey was made captain at one point, and England were shit. So there isn't an awful lot to say, but we're letting you know they lost 1-0, and Tommy Davies and Big Ben were part of that group. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, not expecting you to have an awful lot to say, but
I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it is a new team, obviously, with players that are playing together that they haven't got week in, week out all together. So I guess there is sort of some barrier which needs to be overcome so they can all work together well. Obviously, it is a surprise defeat, and it's obviously not great. We should be winning, but it might take time to adjust, not playing in their usual positions with the usual players that are around them. So it might be a bit more difficult, but it's not really an excuse to be losing.
Mabbs, Calvert-Lewin tonight against San Marino. How many goals? What's a good tally for him if he starts against San Marino?
3-4. At the end of the day, though, what do you learn from playing like pub teams like San Marino?
I mean, I don't even know how they're in there. I mean,
how qualifies, isn't it? It's ridiculous, but
imagine if someone gets injured against them.
This is it. He's just risking injuries for what and COVID for what? It's playing against the pub team. It's ridiculous, to be honest.
I think San Marino would do better with us three up front. We've got all sorts of people.
We'd be unstoppable.
But Calvert-Lewin, obviously, it'd be good for his confidence if he can get a few goals, even if it is against San Marino. With the greatest of respect to them, they're not going to cause any trouble tonight. But you never know. I might be jinxing it. And
what the odds, mate? Could be. San Marino.
They've only ever won one game in their history. They're officially the worst football team, international team ever. Just bear with me 1 second, boys. Talk amongst yourselves about the San Marino game, if possible, because I've got good news. Steve, I think he's going to be joining us very shortly on another video that we've got. So if you're watching this, you'll really like the next video that we're doing. I'm just explaining that we're still on this video and be on shortly.
San Marino to win tonight is 80-1.
Might stick a few quid
it's
on that.
It's worth a quid that of anyone's money just to see they win. It's 80 quid and you lose a quid. If you know what I mean.
No, I think it's still that. Obviously, it's a qualifier, so you're not going to be. You're going to have one odd good team, but most of them are going to be like average at best. But obviously, it's a chance for a run out. It's good that it's our first game and we haven't been stuck with someone like one of the bigger teams. So it's just a chance for a run out, a boost of confidence again for Calvert-Lewin. If you can score, it's always good to get your name on the score sheet. So I feel like they'll take it slow. They'll just score a few goals and sit back, pass around, keep a possession game. It's not really a challenge.
If you're
good to keep your confidence up.
If you're watching this, name something in the comments, please. You should be able to comment anywhere you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitter. Things more likely than San Marino beating England tonight. Best answer, please.
Hammer's getting the sex change.
I mean,
Gabamin's starting again.
Well, that seems quite likely now. So a lot of people are watching this, and they're going to be watching back, obviously, because they want to see this. The Everton Voice this is our weekly show that we do where we just talk about a load of Everton stuff and stuff just connected in general to the club. Transfers today is something we want to talk about just because there isn't a game, and we're not going to really go over the Man City game in this video. That's going to be coming over in another video where we're going to be previewing the next 10 fixtures. That's coming up in about half an hour. So in this video, we were looking for things to talk about, and it's transfers. So you can see the 3 players there that we think Everton are in for, could be in for, might be in for. Koulibaly on the right, Max Aarons top left, and Adrien Rabiot. Okay, Mr. Mabbs. I don't know what's happened to Jon.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna boo you out. I thought you didn't want to talk about transfers. Okay, no. So Koulibaly. Let's start with him. I'm also going to put the banner here so people who are just joining in know what we're talking about. Koulibaly. He is a Senegalese central defender, 29 years of age. He's played with for Carlo Ancelotti at Napoli, who a club he's made 200 appearances for. A very, very, very good centre-back, commanding. They were talking about £80 million at one point for him, and it looked as if a team like Liverpool would go in for him, Man United, Man City, even last summer. But Napoli have obviously dug their heels in and said, he's not for sale. But with the coronavirus crisis, Koulibaly is said to be available. He's coming up to 30 in June. Obviously, you're talking about an elite footballer here. Is this the type of signing Everton need to make at this stage now to move to that level? And obviously, we're talking about a central defender here.
So, as I'm saying, have we actually got enough centre-backs? Is that an area that we actually need to be strengthening?
I think there isn't a future long-term at Everton for Mason Holgate. I think he's going to be third choice right back in the summer. And he's going to be, he's down the pecking order at centre-back. And I think possibly he might be looking to bring in someone like Koulibaly and then say to Holgate, you can go. And I think we might fetch 15 million for Holgate. I mean,
I know what you're saying.
So there would be space for a centre-back.
Is it a priority though?
No, but if you've got, it's you've got an Italian manager who wants a rock solid defense. This guy, let me tell you about this guy. Every time I've seen him, he sweeps up everything. He's like a dustpan and brush. Anything that comes in his way, no, it's actually more like a vacuum. He was like Van Dijk in his prime. He's good. He's very, very good defender. And he's really out of our league, to be honest with you. If we can get him in. Let us know in the comments. Would you like Kalidou Koulibaly at Everton this summer? Jon,
I think it would be a great signing. It would be very useful, obviously, to have him expertise. Obviously, a very good player. Remarkably well in the past. However, I've seen that obviously we've got Mina and Keane. I think they are a very strong centre-back pairing that do very well. So I'd agree with Mabbsy that he's not a priority, but it would be nonetheless it'd still be a great signing. But I think focus more in further up the pitch, so midfield, and bring in another supporting striker, wingers. Width. Obviously, a good signing, but not a priority over there.
But could we get rid of one of the 2 slower centre-backs? Maybe even if we're not getting rid of Holgate, who I've obviously explained, I think he's going to be third choice right back, and he is down the pecking order at centre-back. Could we get rid of one of the slower defenders, Keane or Mina? I mean, obviously, we really like them both. They're very good players, but they're so restrictive in the way we play, and having someone like Koulibaly means you can play a high press on a halfway line. He's got that pace. He's got that strength. I mean, he reads the game.
Even if you do bring him in, if one gets injured, we'd pretty much be screwed. So it'd be good to have them in rotation anyway. And well, again, I think he is a strong player, so it would always benefit us. We can always be making improvements. I just think that other areas on the pitch need more work than our centre-backs.
Yeah.
In the comments, I know there's 8 of you watching right now live. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. Let me know. Let us know what you think about Koulibaly. Do you think he is a priority? Do you think bringing in a centre-back and stopping us conceding goals? Because we have conceded goals at times this season where we've been really, leaky. And I think at the moment we're so heavily restricted by the centre-backs that we do have in terms of the playing style. And I think if we do bring someone like him in, we can play in a lot more elaborate style. We're going to move on now to Max Aarons, right back, Norwich City. Everton have been linked with him, and we were told actually through a friend who's connected to the club, not naming any names, that they had open talks with him last summer, and also in January they offered John Joe Kenny to them to the end of the season and tried to sign Max Aarons, but obviously that didn't go ahead. And now the negotiations have reopened as of sort of the March time. 21 years of age, he's a decent build. He's 115 league appearances for Norwich, and he's only 21 years of age. You're talking about someone with a lot of experience at a young age. 10 caps for England, under 21s, obviously played today in their defeat. Knows Ben Godfrey. Yes, he was part of a really poor defence at Norwich, but he seems to have all the individual attributes. And then and so was Godfrey, to be fair.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. At the end of the day, I was going to say so was Godfrey, and look how he's turned out.
This guy has all the attributes to make it at a top level. Pace, he's quick, strong, great cross. He's dynamic, and he's English. He's gonna be a good communicator with the other English players that we've got. So, do you think he obviously first and foremost is right back your priority? If centre back isn't, is right back your priority? And is Max Aarons?
I think it's more of a priority because at the end of the day, all fairness to Seamus, he has done his job, but he's not been the same since that injury, has he? Let's be honest. And you know what? A young right back, I don't. Also, does that mean John Joe Kenny's just not in the frame?
John Joe Kenny's just nowhere near good enough for Everton.
Exactly. So you know what? I don't think it's necessary. I think the defence isn't a priority, but why not? I welcome Max Aarons, and I think he needs to take over slowly from Seamus. I hate to say it, Seamus has been a loyal servant, and one of us really, but it's one of them, innit?
Just very quickly. Yeah, go on, John. Go on, John, mate.
I'll just say that I think right back for me is actually quite a priority because our defence centrally is quite strong, but if one weak position brings down the whole line of defence. So I think obviously age is a factor. Seamus Coleman's getting on a bit. I think he is a very strong player, and I do like seeing him in the team. But to bring in Max Aarons, which is just such a change up, obviously working well with the rest of the defence. Obviously you've got Godfrey as well, but I think it would add so much more to the team, complete such a strong back line, and also help going forward, providing width. And if you have someone that actually matches their position, it's just going to help the team so much. So I think it really would make a difference, and I would put him as a priority. And I think Max Aaron would do a fantastic job for Everton.
Mabbsy, I'm just going to bring you in on some of the comments that I didn't pick up on because there's a lot of comments. Thank you for everyone watching. Basil, it's very confusing if you're watching. His real name's David. He's my brother. He's on most of the videos with me. He's a top guy. He's a season ticket holder with me, but his nickname's Basil because he likes his food. He got him in the comments. I think he's referring to the Koulibaly, actually. A great defensive reader of the game, excellent player, but we have more pressing holes in the squad. This could be half the transfer budget. I don't think we'd be paying anywhere near him, near the sort of 80 million fee. I think it'd be like 30 million. Otherwise, we wouldn't go near him. Even that sounds like a lot of money for a player turning 30. And I think, and Basil also goes on to say, I think if this is true, Carlo sees we can't play the attacking football he wants until we have a different profile of centre-back. And I agree with that. I think we are really limited. And until we sign someone with a bit more pace and a bit more of an all-rounder, because I think we've got defenders who are good at doing certain things. We've got Keane and Mina, really good at the low block. And then we haven't really seen Godfrey and Holgate as a partnership, but you think they've got the pace to play a little bit higher up. So I think we need someone a bit more all-round who can do a bit of everything. And George, a friend of the channel, goes on to say, Keane signed a new 5-year contract last August, and I agree Holgate could move on. Mina, whilst James is here, won't be going anywhere in a hurry. So George seems to think that Holgate is the weak link in that defence, and I think he's probably the most disposable. Well, I think he's the most disposable of the defenders that we have.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's fine, but then who would you drop in centre-back?
In terms of?
Well, either Keane or Mina.
Well,
yes. Who would in order to play Koulibaly? Because he's spending that money, you got to play him.
I'm actually playing him with Godfrey, because you're talking about an evolution of the style. You're not talking about going back to that low block. I mean, it is really difficult. I think you've got to have 4 good centre backs anyway if you're in the Europa League, certainly, to do something special. That is a really good question, and I'd like the comments. If you're watching in the comments, if Everton did bring in someone like Koulibaly, who drops out of that defence? What is your defence at the moment, even? Because obviously you've got Keane and Mina. Keane doesn't really put a foot wrong, and Mina does make a few more mistakes, but it's hard to leave him out. It really is. And then obviously you've got Godfrey. So let us know what you think. And just moving back on to Max Aarons, George follows up and says he definitely like Aarons. Right back is more priority than centre back. I think we'd all agree. And Coleman's going to be leaving in June 2022. And another comment from George. I agree on Aarons at right back is a priority. Position to sort. Apologies if the ping went off. Andy, turn your notifications off. I agree. I don't know why I'm going red, by the way. I don't have the ring light today, unfortunately. My girlfriend's taken it to do something with it, so I don't have the ring light, and that's why my face is probably red. Apologies. It's coming from the natural light. I agree on Aarons at right back is a priority position to sort. If we could have Aarons and Digne on both wings, would be a lot harder to defend against and give the opposition a lot more to think about. George, fantastic comments. I think you've got to agree. You two, now I want you two to just give us a little bit of a reflection on the Man City game, and just for a brief moment, has it settled down with you? And do you feel it's going to derail our season?
No, not at all. At the end of the day, the Man City was that, Man City are in for the quadruple. It was going to be a tough game. You just got to get on with it, really.
Yeah, I'd agree. I obviously you're coming up with a team that's like challenging for the best in the world out of every single team. It was always going to be a hard game. I think we did play very, very well considering keeping them out, keeping it solid. Obviously we did. Virginia played a game, obviously made a few very good saves. We were unlucky with their first goal, obviously coming back off the bar, because it was a great first fingertips onto the bar. And then obviously we had to change something up because we didn't have long left, and obviously went to concede a second one. So that is frustrating, but obviously it's in the cup. We're focusing on other things now as well, trying to get Europa League. I don't think it will derail our whole season at all, but I do think that it was a decent performance with errors that can be changed and looked upon.
A lot of people, sorry, I had to just briefly dart out the screen just because we've got our special guest coming on our next video coming up very shortly, and I just needed to make sure he was aware of the plan. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too downhearted about the Man City game, really. At the time, it really hit me for 6. And I think I'm just kind of used to the misery. But you're correct. I've seen a lot of people praise Everton's performance against Man City and really, say Everton did fantastic. But can you really say that? I've seen Man City lose to teams that have put up a lot more than Everton did, and
we gave it a go. And at the end of the day, I think the heads didn't drop, and I just think it was your heart was going to be frozen, but your head was always Man City. So it took them to the 83rd minute to break us down,
something like that.
So it's just one of them. We move on.
Guys, so let's go back onto the transfers, and then we're going to briefly touch on the stadium. If you're watching this, stay with us, stay around, because we're going to be doing another video shortly with 2 different people joining me. That's how big we are. We are a multi, we are super large. This guy here on this bottom left, Adrien Rabiot. He's actually worked with Carlo Ancelotti before. Who hasn't? He's a central midfielder, 25 years of age. He's a French midfielder, French international, playing for Juventus. He's a tall frame, 6'2". The only thing with someone like him is obviously very, very talented footballer. is he too similar to what we wanted Andre Gomez to be? And are we kind of not really injecting that pace? He is dynamic and he's got a lot of flair and class, but is Rabiot what we need at Everton right now? You're not sure?
I'm not sure. I don't know, to be honest with you. I haven't seen him play, to be honest, so I'm not going to say I've not seen him. So,
I have seen him play. I've seen him play.
I think he's a very strong. I think he's a very strong player. Obviously, he's got the physical qualities as well. So I think he'll be able to help us move forward a lot more, as opposed to other players that we've got who are weaker. And when you come up against a big opposition opponent, you need to turn around and pass backwards. Whereas if you've got strong stature and you've got a strong build, you're actually able to push against them and push forward. Especially,
he's a very physical player.
Exactly. So it was like Lukaku. Yeah. Obviously, different position. It's the same as he'll just be able to run at them. He's not going to get stopped, and we can actually move the ball forward a lot quicker and at pace.
Mabbsy. Jon makes a really good point. I mean, I don't know why he's smiling so much, but I'm going to ask you about Rabiot. I'm not saying you have. I know you say you haven't seen him. That's fine. I'm not expecting everyone who watches this channel to have seen him. I have seen him. Jon has seen him. Quite a few people have. Not everyone has. But from what I'm describing to you in terms of a tall, athletic, but he's not like a Doucouré. He's a physical player, but he's got flair, technique. He can carry the ball. Do you think that fits the bill on paper?
Yeah,
if you can bring him in for 25 million or something like that.
Of course it does. If that's what you play, yeah, of course we need that creativity in the midfield to help them push on.
I think also. Oh, sorry, go on.
There's your comment from Basil, who'll be joining us shortly. An upgrade on Gomez, but what characteristics are we looking for in the midfield as we buy?
I think Rabiot's come under a lot of criticism because of his lack of professionalism, which is But I think it's been difficult for other people to be able to get a hold on him. But obviously, he's worked with Ancelotti, as you said before. So I think Ancelotti will be able to really keep him on a leash and get exactly out of him what's needed. So I think he'd actually be able to excel really well at Everton. And to be honest, I think his characteristics match up to what we're actually looking for. He'll be a very creative holding player, but also be able to move forward on the offensive and on the defensive as well. So I think he would actually be a very, very strong candidate for our transfer window.
I think Rabiot is someone that Ancelotti has actually chased for a long time. And I think this is going to happen. I don't think the Koulibaly one hand on heart is going to happen. I think the Rabiot one could happen. And I think the Max Aarons one is definitely going to happen. That's what I've been told. And that is also my gut feeling. In terms of the midfield blend that we have at the moment, I would like to see Delph moved on. I think he serves no purpose and he's on huge wages. Get rid. Obviously, Gbamin, we don't know what we're going to get with him. I wouldn't be bothered if we sold Tom Davis. I really wouldn't be bothered if Gomez left. And I really actually wouldn't be bothered if Sigurdsson went. I'm not trying to be overly critical. So I think Sigurdsson's done quite well this season. There's not really a midfield. I don't think we have an outstanding midfield. And I think if you can bring someone like Rabiot in and you've got James, I think you've got a lot of class, you've got a lot of quality. And if you can back that up with maybe another defensive midfielder coming in to compete with, obviously depends on Gbamin, but if Gbamin isn't up to the task, another defensive midfielder who can compete with Alan and Doucouré, I think Everton would have a nicer blend in there. Obviously, there's no chance of Sigurdsson going. I think he's going to sign a new deal, and I doubt Andre Gomez is going to leave anytime soon, which poses the question, would you just get rid of Delph and bring in Rabiot? I think everyone would answer yes. So thank you for joining us. I mean, I just want to get Mabbsy's expertise on the stadium. Yeah. Obviously, you've been following the news. You've seen the government have taken over some parts of the council. What do you think of this? What do you make of it?
I don't think it's affecting us because the deals that are between the council and private investors, whereas we bought our land off Peel, so it's got F all to do with us. It's still going to go through. Do you reckon next month is the government's going to give the final nod, and then we're just going to get on with it?
Very nicely put. Jon, you're not concerned this stadium's going to be called, you think it's only a matter of time before this gets passed?
Yeah, I really reckon that it's just it's a matter of time, because it just does so much for the area, for the club. It's such a great investment. There's very little reason why it should be stopped or why it should be delayed any further. So
it fits
on
in
with
with
the stadium.
What the government wants. It's infrastructure. It's multi-billion pound. Sorry, £1 billion. Sorry, £500 million investment, billions of pounds into Liverpool. You know, and also, let's be honest, it's going to be a success story. The Tories are going to try and claim it, aren't they now? Trying to say, well, this is what we did. We delivered the stadium in our 3 years running the council. Well, running the council, advising the council.
Yeah, they're gonna make Liverpool great again, or something. They'll say,
yeah, something like that. You know, and use it as a success story. So it's going to be part of their success story. So I really don't see any problems. I don't think it's going to get called in. I think it's going to go through, and we're all going to be happy.
Mabbs, a lot of rumours going around, though, obviously, to do with the corruption. Do you want to try and explain a little bit more? Obviously, you were saying about how it's got nothing to do with the stadium, and it's more to do with...
well, obviously, for legal reasons, I can't go into much detail, but it's certain developers in town getting land, getting council land on the cheap. I mean, ridiculously cheap. There was rumours in the Echo that one piece of a £5.5 million piece of land was sold for £900,000. I think there's rumours that there's been bullying going on with regards to this witness intimidation. I think there's talking about the staff being bullied into not speaking out, not being able to whistle-blow. And again, with regards to not being in fair competition with any other builder getting the sniff, it would want to, so, and apparently there's also rumours as well with regards, and again, this is not true, this is just speculation, for disclaimer,
it's very entertaining.
There is rumours going around that Anderson took, I think he took a meeting with Anderson, it took 3 months or something like that. And apparently with certain members, certain developers, they could just walk straight in to his office. Didn't need an appointment even. But read into that what you will. As I say, these speculation, obviously, I don't know.
I think what you got to remember, though, is that Everton did a deal with Peel, which is a private organisation for the lease on the land. That actually doesn't have anything to do with Liverpool City Council up until the sort of planning permission stage. So there can't be any accusations there, surely not.
No, of course not. There isn't. And as you know, as I say, the Coppaites didn't want to lend us the money, and they didn't want the council to get £7 million a year into the council coffers. So they've gone through private investors. So we're not even getting.
So they stuck our council tax bills up and getting it that way.
5%. Yeah, 5%. Great. Yeah,
guys.
Well, there we
go. Thank you very much for joining me. For joining us, I should say. And Mabbsy and Jon, excellent, very, very entertaining. If I wasn't part of the channel, I'd definitely be watching this channel. It's fantastic. Like this video if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube. Search for Follow Everton. And if you can't find it, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook and we'll send you the link. We have actually hit the criteria for our custom URL, but we're waiting on the invitation from YouTube, which is slightly annoying. If you enjoyed this video, though, stay tuned because we're going to be live again very shortly with Basil and our special guest, Steve Ellie, who's part of the fans forum. So it's going to be very interesting. And we're going to be talking about Everton's next 10 fixtures and also taking your questions. I think it's well worth watching. And obviously you too, if you've got nothing to do, tune in and watch and provide.
Always listening.
Fantastic. Speak soon, guys. And be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.